All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Lee. I'm going to continue reading Genesis. We left off at chapter 13 last time, and the Dead Sea Scrolls looks like picks up at chapter 17. This is the Dead Sea Scrolls Online Bible. This is the book, the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible, picks up at chapter 17. So we're going to continue with the Septuagint and probably use some of the KJV. And we use Book of Jubilees. So here's chapter 14. And it came to pass in the reign of Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, that Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Thargol, king of nations, made war with Bala, king of Sodom, and with Barsa, king of Gomorrah, and with Shinar, king of Admah, and with Semabar, king of Seboim, and the king of Balak, this is Segor. All these met with one consent at the Salt Valley. This is now the Sea of Salt. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer. In the 13th year they revolted, and in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings with him, and cut to pieces the giants in Ashtaroth. It's very interesting. And Carnain and strong nations with them, and the Omeans in the city Save, and the Chorhians in the mountains of Seir, to the turpentine tree of Faran, which is in the desert. And having turned back, they came to the well of judgment. This is Cades, and they cut in pieces all the princes of Amalek, and the Amorites dwelling in Asa son Thamar. And the king of Sodom went out, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Seboim, and the king of Balak. This is Segor, and they set themselves in array against them for war in the Salt Valley, against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Thargol, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, the 4 kings against the 5. Now the Salt Valley consists of slime pits, and the king of Sodom fled, and the king of Gomorrah, and they fell in there. And they that were left fled into the mountain country. And they took all the cavalry of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their provisions, and departed. And they took also Lot, the son of Abram's brother, in his baggage, and departed, for he dwelt in Sodom. And one of them that had been rescued came and told Abram the Hebrew, and he dwelt by the oak of Mamre the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol, and the brother of Elnan, who were confederates with Abram. And Abram, having heard that Lot his nephew had been taken captive, numbered his own homeborn servants 318, and pursued after them to Dan. And he came upon them by night, he and his servants, and he smote them and pursued them as far as Chobah, which is on the left of Damascus. And he recovered all the cavalry of Sodom, and he rescued Lot his nephew, and all his possessions, and the women, and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him, after he returned from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and the kings with him, to the valley of Sabi, that was the plain of the kings. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth loaves and wine, and he was the high priest of the Most High God. And he blessed Abram, and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, who made heaven and earth, the Most High Yahuwah. And blessed be the Most High Yahuwah, who delivered thine enemies into thy power. And Abram gave him the tithe of all. And the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the men, and take the horses to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I will stretch out my hand to Yahuwah, the Most High Elohim, who made the heaven and the earth, that I will not take from all thy goods from a string to a shoe latchet, lest thou sayest, I have made Abram rich, except what things the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men that went with me, Eshcol, Onan, Mamre, these shall take a portion. So we got, let's see, Abram in Book of Jubilees. This was also found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Ethiopian canon. Ishmael, let's see. I didn't have the right one pulled up. So it's going to be Lot is before. Yep, there we go. Abraham with Lot in Canaan and Egypt. And we're looking for next one. Campaign of Chedorlaomer. So this is Jubilees 13. Yep. And verse 22, and this year came Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Selasar, and Turgal, king of nations, and slew the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Sodom fled. So it says, slew the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Sodom fled. And the Septuagint says they both fled and fell into the ditch. Or the, yeah, hold on, let's see, where's it at? Yep, slime pits, king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah fell in there. So Jubilees tells a little bit differently. And many fell through wounds in the valley of Siddim by the salt sea. And they took captive Sodom and Adam and Zeboam, and they took captive Lot also, the son of Abram's brother, and all his possessions. And they went to Dan, and one who had escaped came and told Abram that his brother's son had been taken captive, and Abram armed his household servants. This part is missing, probably a very important part. For Abram and for his seed, 1/10 of the first fruits to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah ordained it as an ordinance forever that they should give it to the priests who serve before him, that they should possess it forever. And to this law there is no limit of days, for he hath ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to Yahuwah the 10th of everything, of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it unto his priests to eat and to drink with joy before him. So he gave it to his priest. And the king of Sodom came to him and bowed himself before him and said, Our master Abram, give unto us the souls which thou hast rescued, but let the booty be thine. And Abram said unto him, I lift up my hands to the Most High Yahuwah, that from a thread to a shoe latchet I shall not take aught that is thine, lest thou shouldst say, I have made Abram rich, save only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, and Ner, Eshcol, and Mamre, these will take their portion. Chapter 14. After these things, in the 4th year of this week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of Yahuwah came to Abraham in a dream, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy defender, and thy reward would be exceeding great. So this continues on, and what's missing is Melchizedek. Very important part. Melchizedek. So when we look to King James Version, we've got where's it at? Title King of Nations, Sodom, Gomorrah, 14th year. King of Bela. And this also says the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there. But it does not say, where's that at? The verse 5, 14th year came Chedorlaomer, the kings with him, and cut the pieces of the giants in Ashtaroth. Verse 5, 14th year came Chedorlaomer, the kings with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth Karnan, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Emans in Shabbath Kiriathim. So, my stomach's growling. Let's see. So, Rephaims, Septuagint says giants. So, and we've got, yep, also Melchizedek, chapter Psalms 110, verse 4. Yahuwah has sworn and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Psalms 110. Yep. Yahuwah at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. His right hand, the Messiah, Melchizedek. And we've got also in Hebrews, where's that? Hebrews, Melchizedek. Chapter 7 in Hebrews. So look here. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High, Yahuwah, who met Abram returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of Yahuwah, abideth a priest continually. It's interesting. It says king of Salem is king of peace. So you see here, Melchizedek, king of Salem, people say, oh, that's got to be a place. No, it says king of peace. Now consider how great this man was, even unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils. And verily that they that are the sons of Levi, who receive the office of the priesthood, have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the law, that is, of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham. But he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham, and blessed him that had the promises. So the Messiah received tithes of Abraham. He's not counted in the sons of Levi there, because Levi wasn't even born yet. And without all contradiction, the less is blessed of the better. And here men that die receive tithes, but there he receiveth them, of whom it is witnessed that he liveth. And as I may so say, Levi also, who received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham. For he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek, and not be called after the order of Aaron? So Hebrews 7, let me look at that. It's not Hebrews 7. Wait. Okay, let's go on here. Textus Receptus. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. Perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for Gar, under Ipi, it, Altos, the people received the law. Parentheses. See, receive the law, establish, to enact laws. Laws are enacted to sanction by law, enact. So not necessarily receive the law, because we know Abraham and Noah and Enoch had the law. So this says, for under it the people established the law. Under the Levitical priesthood, the people, Israel. Not that there wasn't a law before. So, yep. What further need was there? Another priest? not be called after the order of Aaron. For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. For he of whom these things are spoken pertained to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evident that our master sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning the priesthood. And it is far more evident, for that after the similitude of Melchizedek there ariseth another priest, who is made not after the law of the carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life. For he testifieth, Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. For there is verily a disannulling of the commandment, going before for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. For the law made nothing perfect, but bringing in a better hope did, by the which we draw nigh unto Yahuwah. And inasmuch as not without an oath he was made priest. For the priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath by him that said unto him, Yahuwah swear and will not repent, Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. By so much was Yahusha made a surety of a better testament. And they truly were many priests, because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death. But this man, because he continueth forever, Yahusha, hath an unchangeable priesthood. Wherefore he is also able to save them. He is able also to save them to the uttermost that come unto Yahuwah by him, seeing he ever liveth to make intercession for them. For such a high priest became us, who is holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than the heavens, who needeth not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice, first for his own sins, and then for the people's. For this he did once, when he offered up himself. For the law maketh men high priests which have infirmity, but the word of the oath, you'll see that in Jubilees, which was since the law, maketh the Son, who is consecrated forevermore. So you'll see, or is it Enoch? Word of the oath. Word of the oath. Jubilee 6:11. Covenant in the month on the mountain with an oath. The words of the covenant which Yahuwah cut with them forever. I think it's Enoch. Oath. Enoch. Yeah. Their observance of a mutual fidelity by a stable oath. No, that's the sun and the moon. Enoch 69:20. That Sephiroth comes in handy. Let's look at it right quick. Text. Should already have this pulled up. Enoch 69. So that's one thing I don't understand fully, the word of the oath, but there's something about it. 69. Maybe that's it. Roman numerals. Can you not do Roman numerals? Just do numbers. 60. Yeah. 69:20. No. Yeah, see, 15, this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong. Oh, here we go. This angel requested Michael to show him the hidden name, that he might enunciate it in the oath, so that those might quake before that name and oath, who revealed all that was in secret to the children of men. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong, and he placed this oath, a K, in the hand of Michael, the archangel. And these are the secrets of this oath. So, yep, missing. And they are strong through this oath, and the heaven was suspended before the world was created, and forever. And through it the earth was founded upon the water, the Messiah. And from the secret recesses of the mountain come beautiful waters, and from the creation of the world and unto eternity. And through that oath the sea was created, and as its foundation he set for it the sand against the time of his anger, and it dare not pass beyond it from the creation of the world unto eternity. And through that oath are the depths made fast, and abide and stir not from their place from eternity to eternity. And through that oath the sun and the moon complete their course, and deviate not from their ordinance from eternity to eternity. And through that oath the stars complete their course, and he calls them by their names, and they answer him from eternity to eternity. And in like manner the spirits of the water, and of the winds, and all the zephyrs, and their paths from all the quarters of the winds. And there are preserved the voices of thunder, and the light of lightnings. There are preserved the chambers of the hail, and chambers of the hoarfrost, chambers of the mist, chambers of the rain and dew. And all these glorify him with all their power, and their food is in every act of thanksgiving. They thank and glorify and extol the name of Yahuwah of spirits forever and ever. And this oath is mighty over them, and through it they are preserved, and their paths are preserved, and their course is not destroyed. There is, let's see, and there was great joy amongst them, and they blessed and glorified and extolled, because the name of that Son of Man had been revealed unto them. And he sat on the throne of his glory, and the sum of judgment was given unto the Son of Man, the Messiah. He caused the sinners to pass away and be destroyed from off the face of the earth, and those who have led the world astray. So it's like the oath and the Messiah are his name, maybe. So, yep, by the word of the oath, there it is, right there, was since the law. He's in the beginning. Now, let's see. Now, of the things which we have spoken, the Son, we have such a high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which Yahuwah pitched, and not man, that's in heaven. For every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifices, wherefore it is of necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer. For if he were on earth, he would not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law, who serve unto the example and the shadow of heavenly things. So what's on earth is a shadow of what's in heaven. As Moses was admonished of Yahuwah when he was about to make the tabernacle. For see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern showed to thee in the mountain. So Moses saw the heavenly tabernacle. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, still got the covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if the first covenant had been faultless, then there should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he said, Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahuwah. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my laws in their mind, and write them in their hearts. I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. So he's going to put laws in their mind and write them in their hearts. That's the new covenant, right there. New covenant. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor, every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, or know Yahuwah, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. So the new covenant is Jeremiah 30. Let's see. Let's just look it up. Might be 30, right? There we go. Jeremiah 31:33. That's what Paul is quoting. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. The new covenant right here in Jeremiah 31:33. The church is lying. That's the new covenant. Okay, enough of that. I covered that pretty good. Chapter 15. After these things, the word of Yahuwah came to Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I shield thee, thy reward shall be very great. And Abram said, Master and Lord, what wilt thou give me? Whereas I am departing without a child, but the son of Mesech, my homeborn female slave, this Eliezer of Damascus, is mine heir. And Abram said, I am grieved, since thou hast given me no seed, but my homeborn servant shall succeed me. And immediately there was a voice of Yahuwah to him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come out of thee shall be thine heir. And he brought him out and said to him, Look up now to heaven and count the stars, if thou shalt be able to number them fully. And he said, Thus shall thy seed be. And Abram believed Yahuwah, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. And he said to him, I am Yahuwah that brought thee out of the land of Chaldeans, so as to give thee this land to inherit. And he said, Master and Lord, how shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said to him, Take from me a heifer in her 3rd year, and a she-goat in her 3rd year, and a ram in his 3rd year, and a dove and a pigeon. So he took to him all these, and divided them in the midst, and set them opposite to each other, but the birds he did not divide. And the birds came down upon the bodies, even the divided parts of them, and Abram sat down by them. And about sunset a trance fell upon Abram, and lo, a great gloomy terror falls upon him. And it was said to Abram, Thou shalt surely know that thy seed shall be a sojourner in a land not their own, and they shall enslave them, that's Egypt, and afflict them, and humble them 400 years. And the nation whomsoever they shall serve I will judge, and after this they shall come forth hither with much poverty. Now it says 400 years, but you go to Jubilees, and you get let's see. Let's see, where's it at? Yep, Eleazar. Of the Chaldees, to give thee the land of the Canaanites to possess it forever. Because Canaan stole the inheritance. He's giving it back to him. Take a heifer 3 years, 3 years, goat, 3 years sheep. Do not set for birds. Horror of great darkness fell upon him. It says, afflict them 400 years. They'll bring them into bondage. The iniquity of the Amorites is not full. Rephaim, giants. People wonder why God made Israel wipe out all these, because they were giants. They were an abomination. They weren't supposed to exist. And Abraham renewed the festival and ordinance forever. And the nation whomsoever they shall serve I will judge, and after this they shall come forth hither with much poverty. But thou shalt depart to thy fathers in peace, nourished in a good old age, and in the 4th generation they shall come hither. For the sin of the Amorites are not yet filled up, even until now. And when the sun was about to set, there was a flame, and behold, a smoking furnace and lamps of fire, which passed between these divided pieces. And that day Yahuwah made a covenant with Abraham, saying, To thy seed I will give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, the Kenites, Kenizzites, Kedmonians, the Chettites, the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, giants, and the Amorites, and Canaanites, and Evites, and Girgashites, and Jebusites. look at one interesting thing here is the Girgashites are in here, but if you look earlier, the Girgashites are missing. Chapter 16, and Sarah the wife of Abram bore him no children, and she had an Egyptian maid whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said to Abram, Behold, Yahuwah has restrained me from bearing. Go therefore in to my maid, that I may get children for myself through her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. So Sarah the wife of Abram, having taken Hagar the Egyptian, her handmaid, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, gave her to Abram her husband as a wife to him. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived, and saw that she was with child, and her mistress was dishonored before her. And Sarah said to Abram, I am injured by thee. I gave my handmaid into thy bosom, and when I saw that she was with child, I was dishonored before her. Yahuwah judge between me and thee. And Abram said to Sarah, Behold, thy handmaid is in thy hands. Use her as it may seem good to thee. And Sarah afflicted her, and she fled from her face. That is, yeah. So it tells you the 86th year in the life of Abram. Doesn't say anything about Sarah there. And an angel of Yahuwah found her by the fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur. And the angel of Yahuwah said to her, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence comest thou, and whither goest thou? And she said, I am fleeing from the face of my mistress Sarah. And the angel of Yahuwah said to her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of Yahuwah said to her, I will surely multiply thy seed. It shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of Yahuwah said to her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, for Yahuwah hath hearkened to thy humiliation. He shall be a wild man, his hands against all, and the hands of all against him. He shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of Yahuwah, who spoke to her, Thou art Yahuwah, who seest me. For she said, For I have openly seen him that appeared to me. Therefore she called the well of him whom I have openly seen. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Berad. And Hagar bore a son to Abram, and Abram called the name of his son, which Hagar bore to him, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abraham. And it looks like we have 12, 15, 18, 19. 12, 15, 18, yeah, very little there. So 17, and Abram was 99 years old, and Yahuwah appeared to Abraham and said to him, I am thy Elohim, be well pleasing before me, and be blameless, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell upon his face, and Yahuwah spoke to him, saying, And I, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of a multitude of nations, and thy name shall no more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For I have made thee a father of many nations, and I will increase thee very exceedingly, and I will make thee nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee, and I will establish my covenant between thee and thy seed after thee, to their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be thy Elohim, and the Elohim of thy seed after thee. And I will give to thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou sojournest, even all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be to them a Elohim. And Yahuwah said to Abram, Thou also shalt fully keep my covenant, thou and thy seed after thee, for their generations. And this is the covenant which thou shalt fully keep between me and you, and between thy seed after thee from their generations. Every male of you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of a covenant between me and you. Thy seed after thee for their generations. And the child of 8 days old shall be circumcised by you, every male throughout your generations, and the servant born in the house, and he that is bought with money, of every son of a stranger who is not of thy seed, he that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with money shall be surely circumcised, and my covenant shall be on your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised male who shall not be circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul shall be utterly destroyed from his family, for he has broken my covenant. And Yahuwah said to Abram, Sarah thy wife, her name shall not be called Sarah, Sarah shall be her name, and I will bless her and give thee a son of her, and I will bless him, and he shall become nations, and kings of nations shall be of him. And Abram fell upon his face and laughed and spoke in his heart, saying, Shall there be a child to one who is 100 years old, and shall Sarah who is 90 years old bear? And Abram said to Yahuwah, Let this Ishmael live before thee. And Yahuwah said to Abraham, Yea, behold, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, to be an Elohim to him and to his seed after him. And concerning Ishmael, behold, I have heard thee, and behold, I have blessed him, and will increase him and multiply him exceedingly. 12 nations shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But I will establish my covenant with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to thee at this time in the next year. And he left off speaking with him, and Yahuwah went up from Abram. And Abram took Ishmael his son, and all his homeborn servants, and all those bought with money, every male of the men in the house of Abram, and he circumcised their foreskins in the time of that day, according as Yahuwah had spoke to him. And Abram was 99 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, and Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And at the period of that day Abram was circumcised, and Ishmael his son, and all the men of his house, both those born in the house and those bought with money of foreign nations. And it says here, 17:12, Dead Sea Scrolls, He who is 8 days old will be circumcised among you, every male throughout your generations. He who is born in the house or bought with money from any foreigner who is not of your offspring, he who is born in your house and he who is bought with your money must be circumcised. My covenant will be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. 15. Yahuwah said to Abraham, As for Sarah your wife, you shall not call her name Sarah, but her name shall be Sarah. I will bless her, moreover I will give you a son by her. Yes, I will bless her, and she will be a mother of nations. Kings of peoples will come from her. Abram said to Elohim, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you. Elohim said, Yahuwah said, No, but Sarah your wife will bear you a son. You shall call his name Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant for his offspring after him. Chapter 18. Not very much there. Not very much. 18. So we got, and Yahuwah appeared to him by the oak of Mamre, as he sat by the door of his tent at noon, and he lifted up his eyes and beheld, and lo, 3 men stood before him, and having seen them, he ran to meet them from the door of his tent, and did obeisance to the ground. And he said, Yahuwah, if indeed I have found grace in thy sight, pass not by thy servant. Let water now be brought, and let them wash your feet, and do you refresh yourselves under the tree. And I will bring bread, and you shall eat, and after this you shall depart on your journey, on account of which refreshment you have turned aside to your servant. And he said, So do as thou hast said. And Abram hasted to the tent to Sarah, and said to her, Hearken, and knead 3 measures of fine flour, and make cakes. And Abram ran to the kine, and took a young calf, tender and good, and gave it to his servant. And he hasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and he set them before them. And they did eat, and he stood by them under the tree. And he said to them, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he answered and said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will return and come to thee according to this period seasonably. And Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard at the door of the tent being behind him. And Abram and Sarah were old, advanced in days, and the custom of women ceased with Sarah. And so the custom of women was childbirth. And Sarah laughed in herself, saying, The thing has not as yet happened to me, even until now, and my master is old. And the Yahuwah said to Abram, or the Lord, the master, the angel that was there, Why is it that Sarah has laughed in herself, saying, Shall I then indeed bear, but I am grown old? Shall anything be impossible with Yahuwah? At this time I will return to thee seasonably, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said to her, Nay, but thou didst laugh. And the men, having risen up from thence, looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abram went with them, attending them on their journey. So that's the angels he sent to Sodom and Gomorrah. And Yahuwah said, Shall I hide from Abram my servant what things I intend to do? But Abram shall become a great and populous nation, and in him shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. For I know that he will order his sons and his house after him, and they will keep the ways of Yahuwah to do justice and judgment, his commandments, that Yahuwah may bring upon Abram all things whatsoever he has spoken to him. And Yahuwah said, The cry of Sodom and Gomorrah has been increased towards me, and their sins are very great. Their sins are very great. What's sin? Need a Bible interpretation of what sin is, not man-made interpretation. What does Scripture say? Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is transgression of the law. Their sins are very great. So a lawless people, much like today. I will therefore go down and see if they completely correspond with the cry which comes to me, and if not, that I may know. And the men, having departed thence, came to Sodom, and Abram was still standing before Yahuwah. And Abram, or before the Lord, I guess before the angels he sent. And Abram drew nigh and said, Wast thou Yahuwah, yeah. And Abram drew nigh and said, Wast thou destroy the righteous with the wicked? And shall the righteous be as the wicked? So that's 23. Oh, here we go. So we got 20 here. Yahuwah said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether their deeds are as bad as the reports which have come to me. If not, I will know. The men turned from there and went toward Sodom, but Abram stood yet before Yahuwah. So the angels went toward Sodom. So Abram's left, verse 22, before Yahuwah. He said in verse 24, What if there be 50 righteous within the city? Will you consume and not spare the place for the 50 righteous who are in it? Be it far from you to do things like that, to kill the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be like the wicked. May that be far from you. Shouldn't the judge of all the earth do right? So Abraham's asking the question. So, righteous be as wicked, destroy them. Thou that judgest the whole earth, shalt thou not do right? And Yahuwah said, If there should be in Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will spare the whole city and the whole place for their sakes. And Abram answered and said, Now I have begun to speak to Yahuwah, and I am earth and ashes, or he's dust. But if the 50 righteous should be diminished to 45, wilt thou destroy the whole city because of the 5 wanting? And he said, I will not destroy it, if I should find there 45. And he continued to speak to him still, and said, But if there should be there 40? And he said, I will not destroy it for the 40's sake. And he said, Will there be anything against me, Yahuwah, if I shall speak? But if there be found there 30? And he said, I will not destroy it for 30's sake. And he said, Since I am able to speak to Yahuwah, what if there should be found there 20? And he said, I will not destroy it if I should find there 20. And he said, Will there be anything against me, Yahuwah, if I speak yet once? But if there should be found there 10? And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And Yahuwah departed where he left off speaking to Abram, and Abram returned to his place. Let me find my cursor. So, chapter 19. Yeah. And it talks about the Abraham circumcised all the men of his house in the book of Jubilees. Those born in his house and all those whom he had bought with money from the children of the stranger were circumcised with him. Now, the book of Jubilees tells us something Genesis does not. This is the law for all the generations forever, and there is no circumcision of the days and no omission of the one day out of the 8 days, for it is an eternal ordinance ordained written on the heavenly tables. Did they erase it from the heavenly tables? Probably not. And everyone that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, belongeth not to the children of the covenant, which Yahuwah made with Abraham, but to the children of destruction. Nor is there, moreover, any sign on him that he is Yahuwah's, but he is destined to be destroyed and slain from the earth, and to be rooted out of the earth, for he has broken the covenant of Yahuwah, our Elohim. Now, does that mean because you hadn't converted and you're 40 years old? No. Abraham did it when he converted, when he found out. For all the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation. So the angels of the presence and the angels of sanctification were circumcised the day they were created. And before the angels of the presence and the angels of sanctification, he has sanctified Israel, so his people. They're different. They're not Gentiles. That they should be with him and with his holy angels. And do thou command the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations as an eternal ordinance, and they will not be rooted out of the land. For the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among all the children of Israel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, Yahuwah did not cause to approach him, and he chose them not because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people. And he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men, for there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his, and over all hath he placed spirits and authority to lead them astray from him. But over Israel he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler. And he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, and that they may be his, and he may be theirs from henceforth forever. So there's things that are different. If you're Israel, you got to separate between the holy and the unholy, the clean and the unclean. The other people don't have to do that. And now I announce unto thee that the children of Israel will not keep true to this ordinance. Well, there's a prophecy. They will not circumcise their sons according to all this law, for in the flesh of their circumcision they will omit this circumcision of their sons, and all of them, the sons of Beliar, will leave their sons uncircumcised as they were born. And there will be great wrath from Yahuwah against the children of Israel, because they have forsaken his covenant, and turned aside from his word, who's the word, Messiah, and provoked and blasphemed, inasmuch as they do not observe the ordinance of this law, for they have treated their members like the Gentiles, so that they may be removed and rooted out of the land, and there will be no more pardon or forgiveness unto them, so that there should be forgiveness and pardon for all the sin of this eternal error. So, yeah, it's pretty clear. And 2 angels came to Sodom. So there's the 2 men. Yeah, Jubilees. Now, Abram, in Jubilees, it does not say Abram laughed. It says Sarah laughed. Turn set time. Yep, in this month, Yahuwah executed judgments on Sodom, Gomorrah, and Zeboam. He burned them with fire and brimstone and destroyed them even until this day, in all the region of the Jordan. So you got Zeboam and all the region of the Jordan and Sodom and Gomorrah. 19, 27, and 28. That's in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So we're going to start at 1 in the Septuagint. And the 2 angels came to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat by the gate of Sodom. And Lot, having seen them, rose up to meet them. And he worshipped with his face to the ground, and said, Lo, my lords, turn aside to the house of your servant, and rest from your journey, and wash your feet. And having arisen early in the morning, you shall depart on your journey. And they said, Nay, but we will lodge in the street. And he constrained them, and they turned aside to him, and they entered into his house, and he made a feast for them, and baked unleavened cakes for them, and they did eat. But before they went to sleep, the men of the city, the Sodomites, compassed the house, both young and old, all the people together. And they called out Lot, and said to him, Where are the men that went in to thee this night? Bring them out to us, that we may be with them. And Lot went out to them to the porch, and he shut the door after him, and said to them, By no means, brethren, do not act villainously. That's how sick these people were. But I have 2 daughters who have not known men. I will bring them out to you, and do you use them as it may please you. Only do not injure these men. Do no injury to these men, to avoid which they came under the shelter of my roof. And they said to him, Stand back there, thou camest in to sojourn, was it also to judge? Now then we would harm thee more than them. And they pressed hard on the man, even Lot, and they drew nigh to break the door. And the men stretched forth their hands, and drew Lot into them into the house, and shut the door of the house. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, and they were wearied with seeking the door. And the men said to Lot, Haste thou here, sons-in-law, or sons, or daughters, or if thou hast any other friend in the city, bring them out of this place. For we are going to destroy this place, for their cry has been raised up before Yahuwah, and Yahuwah has sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who had married his daughters, and said, Rise up and depart out of this place, for Yahuwah is about to destroy the city. But he seemed to be speaking absurdly before his sons-in-law. But when it was morning, the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise and take thy wife and thy 2 daughters whom thou hast, and go forth, lest thou also be destroyed with the iniquities of the city. And they were troubled, and the angels laid hold on his hand, and the hand of his wife, and the hand of his 2 daughters, in that Yahuwah spared him. And it came to pass, when they brought them out, that they said, Save thine own life by all means, look not round to that which is behind, nor stay in all the country round about. Escape to the mountain, lest perhaps thou be overtaken together with them. And Lot said to them, I pray, Master, since thy servant has found mercy before thee, and thou hast magnified thy righteousness, and what thou doest toward me, that my soul may live, but I shall not be able to escape to the mountain, lest perhaps the calamity overtake me, and I die. 20. Behold, the city is near for me to escape thither, which is a small one, and there shall I be preserved. Is it not little? And my soul shall live because of thee. And he said to him, Behold, I have had respect to thee also about this thing, that I should not overthrow the city about which thou hast spoken. Hasten therefore to escape thither, for I shall not be able to do anything until thou art come thither. Therefore he called the name of that city Segor. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Segor, and Yahuwah rained on Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahuwah out of heaven. And he overthrew these cities and all the country round about, and all that dwelt in the cities, and the plants springing out of the ground. And his wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abram rose up early to go to the place where he had stood before Yahuwah, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward the surrounding country, and saw, and behold, a flame went up from the earth as the smoke of a furnace. So 27. Abram got up early in the morning to the place where he had stood before Yahuwah. He looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and looked and saw the smoke of the land went up as the smoke of a furnace. So Abram saw that there. 20. And it came to pass, when Yahuwah destroyed all the cities of the region round about, Yahuwah remembered Abram, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when Yahuwah overthrew those cities in which Lot dwelt. And Lot went out of Segor, and dwelt in the mountain, he and his 2 daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Segor. He dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters with him. And the elder said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no one on earth who shall come in to us as it is fit in all the earth. Come and let us make our father drink wine, and let us sleep with him, and let us raise up seed from our father. So they made their father drink wine in that night, and the elder went in and lay with her father that night, and he knew not when he slept and when he rose up. And it came to pass on the morrow that the elder said to the younger, Behold, I slept yesternight with our father, let us make him drink wine, and this night also, and do thou go in and sleep with him, and let us raise up seed of our father. So they made their father drink wine in that night also, and the younger went in and slept with her father, and he knew not when he slept, nor when he arose. And the 2 daughters of Lot conceived by their father, and the elder bore a son, and called his name Moab, saying, He is of my father. This is the father of the Moabites to this present day. And the younger also bore a son, and called his name Ammon, saying, This the son of my family. This is the father of the Ammonites to this present day. Yep. 20. Chapter 20. So let's see, Jubilees. Dead Sea Scrolls doesn't give us much there. Jubilees. Yeah, he and his daughters committed sin upon the earth, such as had not been on the earth since the days of Adam till this time, for a man lay with his daughters. And behold, it was commanded and engraven concerning all his seed on the heavenly tablets to remove them and root them out, and to execute judgment upon them like the judgment of Sodom, and to leave no seed of the man on the earth on the day of condemnation, day of judgment. So his seed is going to be destroyed, because that's disgusting. So what do we got in here? 19. Yeah, 22 is the next for Dead Sea Scrolls. Hey Kristen, Yahuwah bless you. Thank you. So I got 20, chapter 20. Yep, and Abram removed thence to the southern country and dwelt between Cadiz and Sur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abram said concerning Sarah his wife, she is my sister, for he feared to say, she is my wife, lest at any time the men of the city should kill him for her sake. So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. And an interesting thing to note here is Sarah is his half sister. So he's not lying when he said, tell them you're my sister. Abraham's a righteous man. You're not supposed to lie. And Yahuwah came to Abimelech by night in sleep, and said, behold, thou diest for the woman whom thou hast taken, whereas she has lived with a husband. But Abimelech had not touched her, and he said, Yahuwah, wilt thou destroy an ignorantly sinning and just nation? Said he not to me, she is my sister? Said she not to me, he is my brother? With a pure heart and the righteousness of my hands have I done this. And Yahuwah said to him in sleep, yea, I knew that thou didst this with a pure heart, and I spared thee, so that thou shouldst not sin against me. Therefore I suffered thee not to touch her. But now return the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and shall pray for thee. So Abraham's a prophet. And thou shalt live, but if thou restore her not, know that thou shalt die, and all thine. And Abimelech rose early in the morning, and called all his servants, and he spoke all these words in their ears, and all the men feared exceedingly. And Abimelech called Abram, and said to him, what is this that thou hast done to us? Have we sinned against thee, that thou hast brought upon me and upon my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done to me a deed which no one ought to do. And Abimelech said to Abram, what hast thou seen in me that thou hast done this? And Abram said, why, I said, surely there is not the worship of Yahuwah in this place, and they will slay me because of my wife. For truly she is my sister by my father. See? People like to say Abraham lied. He's a righteous prophet. He's not lying. But not by my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass, when Yahuwah brought me forth out of the house of my father, that I said to her, this righteousness thou shalt perform to me, in every place into which we may enter, say of me, he is my brother. And Abimelech took 1,000 pieces of silver, and sheep, and calves, and servants, and maidservants, and gave them to Abram. And he returned him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said to Abram, behold, my land is before thee, dwell wheresoever it may please thee. And to Sarah he said, behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Those shall be to thee for the price of thy countenance, and to the women with thee, and speak the truth in all things. And Abram prayed to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah healed Abimelech and his wife and his woman servants, and they bore children, because Yahuwah had fast closed from without every womb in the house of Abimelech, because of Sarah, Abram's wife. And Yahuwah visited Sarah as he said, and Yahuwah did to Sarah as he spoke. And she conceived and bore to Abraham a son in old age, at the set time according to Yahuwah spoke to him. And Abram called the name of his son that was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. And Abram circumcised Isaac on the 8th day. So see, now Abraham knows, and he does it on the 8th day, as Yahuwah commanded him. And Abram was 100 years old when Isaac his son was born to him. And Sarah said, Yahuwah has made laughter for me, for whosoever shall hear shall rejoice with me. And she said, who shall say to Abram that Sarah suckles a child? For I have borne a child in my old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abram made a great feast the day that his son Isaac was weaned. And Sarah, having seen the son of Agar, the Egyptian, who was born to Abram, sporting with Isaac her son, then she said to Abram, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not inherit with my son Isaac. But the word appeared very hard before Abram concerning his son. But Yahuwah said to Abram, Let it not be hard before thee concerning the child, and concerning the bondwoman. In all things whatsoever Sarah shall say to thee, hear her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And moreover, I will make the son of this bondwoman a great nation, because he is thy seed. And Abram rose up in the morning, and took loaves and a skin of water, and gave them to Hagar. And he put the child on her shoulder, and sent her away. And she having departed, wandered in the wilderness near the well of the oath, and the water failed out of the skin. And she cast the child under a fir tree. And she departed and sat down opposite him at a distance, as it were a bow shot. For she said, Surely I cannot see the death of my child. And she sat opposite him, and the child cried aloud and wept. And Yahuwah heard the voice of the child from the place where he was. And an angel of Yahuwah called Agar out of heaven, and said to her, What is it, Agar? Fear not, for Yahuwah has heard the voice of the child from the place where he is. Rise up and take the child, and take hold of thine hand, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And Yahuwah opened her eyes, and she saw a well of springing water, and she went and filled the skin with water, and gave the child to drink. And Yahuwah was with the child, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness, and his mother took him a wife out of Pharaoh of Egypt. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech spoke, and Achazoth his friend, and Phicol the chief captain of his host, to Abram, saying, Yahuwah is with thee in all things, whatsoever thou mayest do. Now therefore swear to me by Yahuwah that thou wilt not injure me, nor my seed, nor my name, but according to the righteousness which I have performed with thee, thou shalt deal with me, and with the land in which thou hast sojourned. And Abram said, I will swear it. And Abram reproved Abimelech because of the wells of water which the servants of Abimelech took away. And Abimelech said to him, I know not who has done this thing to thee, neither didst thou tell it me, neither heard I it, but only today. And Abram took sheep and calves, and gave them to Abimelech, and both made a covenant. And Abram set 7 ewe lambs by themselves. And Abimelech said to Abram, What are these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set alone? And Abram said, Thou shalt receive the 7 ewe lambs of me, that they may be for me as a witness that I dug this well. Therefore he named the name of that place the well of the oath, for there they both swore, and they made a covenant at the well of the oath. And there rose up Abimelech, Ashkazath his friend, and Phicol the commander-in-chief of the army. And they returned to the land of the Philistines, and Abram planted a field at the well of the oath, and called there on the name of Yahuwah the everlasting Elohim. And Abram sojourned in the land of the Philistines many days. So 22, yeah, you don't have much. Yeah, here's a footnote for 22 in the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible, since according to the Bible itself, the name Yahuwah, translated Lord, Baal in most modern editions of the Bible, was later revealed to Moses in the book of Exodus. Nope, it was in Genesis, Yahuwah. The worshippers of the Lord are Baal, but Lord in the Bible. Students of the Pentateuch have long debated the use of Yahweh or Yahuwah in the book of Genesis. A common solution suggests that an early author editor indiscriminately used the term in his copying of the text. 4Q Genesis Exodus, sure to fuel the debate afresh, replaces the term Yahuwah in Genesis 22:14 with a more common Hebrew term for God. Thus the familiar Jehovah Jireh becomes Elohim Jireh, or Lord also, Yehovah. Same vowel letters. So let's go to Jubilees. You got in the middle of you got the well of the oath. We talked about the oath earlier. Very interesting. I don't understand it completely, but And then this is Jubilees chapter 16, verse 12. In the middle of the 6th month, Yahuwah visited Sarah and did unto her as he had spoken, and she conceived. And she bare a son in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, at the time of which Yahuwah had spoken to Abraham, on the festival of the first fruits of the harvest. Isaac was born. So that's interesting that you don't get that in Genesis. Isaac's born on the festival of the first fruits of the harvest, about the same time the Messiah was born. Not December 25th, not sun god worship day. He's born on the festival of the first fruits of the harvest, just like Isaac was born. And Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day. He was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant which is ordained forever. And in the 6th year of the 4th week, we came to Abram to the well of the oath. Yeah, so the angels. And 7th month gives you more detail, saying that all the seed of the sons should be Gentiles and be reckoned with the Gentiles, but from the sons of Isaac should become a holy seed, should not be reckoned among the Gentiles. For he should become a portion of the Most High, and all his seed had fallen into the possession of Yahuwah, that it should be unto Yahuwah a people for his possession above all nations, that it should become a kingdom and a priest and a holy nation. And you look at you'll notice in you'll notice that Peter knows Jubilees, but you are 1 Peter 2:9, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Hallelujah. It is, above all nations. Let's see. I think I ate too much mustard. Got my throat raspy. Helps me sleep, so I eat a little mustard before bed. Settle your stomach. And Abraham was the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles on the earth. So when people say Israel's the first to get the law, negative. Negative. He did the sacrifices before Israel got the law. Yep. Galbanum, stack, nard, myrrh, spice, all these. He celebrated the feast 7 days, rejoicing with all his heart and with all his soul. Where do we hear that at? Can't type this morning. Matthew 22:37, Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind. Well, it's like Abraham knows what he's doing. He's celebrating the feast with all his heart and with all his soul. He and all those who were in his house, there was no stranger with him, nor any that was uncircumcised. He blessed the Creator who had created him in his generation, for he had created him according to his good pleasure, for he knew and perceived that from him would arise the plan of righteousness for eternal generations. Who's that? The Messiah. And from him a holy seed, so that it would become like him who had made all things. Who created all things? Who was everything created through? The Messiah. See, and he blessed and rejoiced and called the name of this festival the festival of Yahuwah, a joy acceptable to the Most High Elohim. For this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets concerning Israel that they shall celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days with joy, in the 7th month acceptable before Yahuwah, statute forever throughout their generations every year. Forever. On the heavenly tablets. Did anybody go up there and erase it? Nope. But we don't have the correct calendar, so I don't do it. I don't know the calendar. And to this there is no limit of days, for it is ordained forever regarding Israel. They should celebrate it and dwell in booths, and set wreaths upon their heads, and take leafy boughs and willows from the brook. And Abram took branches of palm trees, fruit of goodly trees, every day, going round about the altar with the branches 7 times. So it tells you exactly how Abraham celebrated it. He praised and gave thanks to Yahuwah for all things in joy. Hallelujah. Abraham's one of the examples. And Isaac was weaned in this Jubilee. Let's see. Yep, Abraham rose in the morning. Angel of Yahuwah talked to Hagar. Yep, there were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, that he was faithful in all that he told him, that he loved Yahuwah, and that in every affliction he was faithful. So who's the voices in heaven regarding Abraham? It's the angels, the ones that report to Yahuwah. And where's that? Not sure exactly where it's at, but the angels go before Yahuwah and they report, the archangels. So they're telling Yahuwah in heaven that Abraham is faithful. And then Satan came before and said to Yahuwah, behold, Abraham loveth Isaac his son. He delighteth in him above all things. Bid him offer him as a burnt offering on the altar, and thou wilt see if he will do this command, and thou wilt know if he is faithful in everything wherein thou dost try him. And Yahuwah knew that Abraham was faithful in all his afflictions, for he had tried him through his country with famine, tried him with the wealth of kings, and tried him again through his wife, when she was torn from him, and with circumcision. He was one of Abraham's tests there. He had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. And everything wherein he had tried him, he was found faithful. His soul was not impatient, he was not slow to act, for he was faithful and a lover of Yahuwah. So that's what Satan does. You see in the book of Job that he does the same thing to Job. So we're at 22. I'll stop there. So, all right. I hope that was a blessing and helpful. And I'll see you next time.